along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a roof without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. It's love is too hard. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Let's get this party started right. Come on, quickly. Appreciate everybody. Got to be able to look now and notice that at the very beginning of the show, kind of quiet, and the eyes are going all over the place. A lot going on in the background.
Work for a highly funded yet unofficial government agency. Our mission is to monitor extraterrestrial activity on Earth. We are the men in black. You know what the difference is between you and me? I make this look good. It's awesome, baby!
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? This is Coach Khayr, and you know that you are rocking with the best.
It's a dream come true.
I am so happy and grateful to be here, and I'm broadcasting live and direct from Los Angeles, California today, and my cells are happy. Happy, because I'm always on a journey to make them happy. And when I make my cells happy, they make my life wonderful. I get to live in a state of bliss, in a state of harmony, prosperity, abundance. Like, everything is just magnificent. And I owe it all to finding out about how I need to treat my cells. And tonight, that's what we're going to be talking about on Coach K Radio is knowledge of self, knowledge of cells, the connection. Symptometry knows. In all of my esoteric studies, it's always been a criteria for man to know himself. The great work is for man to bring himself, and now when I say man, I mean men, I mean us as a race of human beings, not black, white, male, or female, or any other nationality over another, but for us as a race, referred to as man, to evolve and move to our highest potential. Well, in order for us to move to our highest potential, we have to get to know ourselves. And we have to get to know ourselves sooner than later. You know what I mean? Like, we can't wait until we're in our 40s and 50s like we've been doing. We have to do something right now. And because we are at a point in time in our own situation, in our evolvement, that things are getting really, really critical. But our cells are evolving. and our conditions that we are able to exert energy over and make changes in, they're changing as well. But we have to stay on top of that. And tonight's show is going to be all about how do we really know ourselves? It was, I don't know if it was a commandment per se, or it was a very wise person, but in ancient Kemetic and ancient Egyptian societies, and even ancient Greek societies who borrowed it from ancient Kemet, they said, man, know thyself, and to thine own self be true. That was the second part I really think a lot of people have skipped over. So tonight, we want to talk about the connection between knowing yourself and knowing your cells. Doesn't that seem odd that self and cells sound very, very similar? And what is the self? You know, who are the cells? How many of them do we have? How many selves do we have? Like, when we say know thyself, are we talking about our human self, just our name, or are we talking about our spiritual aspects? We want to cover all of that tonight. And since this is Symptometry night, I think that that's really going to move this show in the proper direction tonight. Let's start getting down to the basics as far as what are our cells and how they really are our self, how the real study of symptometry and the real study of our cells is the exact same thing. It is the exact same thing because we got to get down to the basics. Like there just isn't anything else to say, but we got to get down to the basics, because once we do, that's when the reward comes in. And once we start achieving the reward, we'll be moving away from the suffering. Like, for us, having suffering as a reward shows us that we're heading in the wrong direction. So tonight, I want to make sure that my esteemed panel comes in and just drops it. And I'm going to be asking some very pointed and very clear-cut questions to make sure that we're well understood and that you, my listening audience, can take something away, that you can start honoring yourselves, knowing yourselves. We want to empower you with some information tonight and some wisdom that you did not have earlier. But as you know, I can't do it by myself. I got to tune in, to zoom in to my compadres, my amigos, my mentors, you know, my family. And first up on the list, of course, I want y'all to put y'all hand together for, this guy, this man, he's not just a guy, excuse me. This man, this doctor has went through so many different avenues and his own particular challenges to arrive where he's at right now. He is a former vegetarian for over 9 years. He's an acupuncturist. He's studied Asian medicine for well over 12, 15 years. He is an engineer. He's an alumni of Norfolk State. He's an engineer. He's a family man. He's a great husband. He's also a great friend of mine, as well as one of the most astute scientists that I am associated with in the known world. All right. He's also an I Ching master. Y'all please put y'all hands together for Dr. Charlie Abbott. Dr. Abbott, thank you for joining the show tonight. How you doing?
Coach, I can't complain. It's not as sunny here as it is where you are, but we're making the best of it. So I'm feeling good. I mean, at least I hear the enthusiasm in your voice about being in such a wonderful atmosphere.
Well, absolutely. Now, the climate in San Diego was amazing. It is amazing here in Los Angeles. And as soon as I cut my computer on, I saw that back in Atlanta, they're still, dealing with some 40 degree weather. And there's no telling what you all are dealing with in North Carolina. And heaven forbid I even start to think what Dr. Nartey is dealing with up there in Chicago. But I heard that, you're right, we might be a little might be a little difference in the climate. But I'm so happy that this subject tonight will hopefully warm everybody's hearts and bring and light a flame inside everyone to start going after more knowledge of their selves. What do you think about that?
I think it's an outstanding subject to bring to the forefront tonight, because we always talk about sales, and without really going too far in on it, at this point in the conversation, that's essentially what we're made up of. And so many times within the world of knowledge and understanding, the world of the esoteric world, the spiritual world, I hear people talk about food, talk about health, and they speak on so many different things. And so today I talked with a person, and some of the things that we've mentioned before on this show, people haven't been introduced to. So I'm so grateful to have this platform so that we can continue to get the word out. Some people just think they're under the impression based upon pseudoscience and word of mouth and things that we hear out on the street or in the library or at different talks and conversations that we as all we have to do is to exercise, eat healthy, and just follow those rules. But with symptometry, we focused on the scientific way, and I really find that it is a fascinating way, and it's definitely a way that it's a pathway to evolve. And as you said before, connecting with the self through the cells. So I'm really excited about it tonight, Coach.
I am too. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to just get the ball rolling before I bring Dr. Nartey in. Why is it so important? Why can't I just stop with just my birthday? Some people, I'm an astrologer, I'm a historian. Why can't I just stop with my birthday and what my name is? And I'm sorry. Why can't I just stop with my birthday? I'm an astrologer. Or why can't I just stop with my ideal height and weight? And why can't I just stop with studying and saying, well, I'm from the Celtic tribe, or I'm from a Native American tribe, or I'm from an African tribe? Why can't I just go to Ancestry.com and get some information? Why isn't that far enough? Why doesn't that qualify me as really knowing myself? Or does that qualify me as knowing myself if I know Ancestry, but I lack true understanding and knowledge of my cells? Do I qualify as really knowing myself?
Well, it's a great option to be able to introduce a person to them, that they can explore that part of the history of themselves and their family and lineage. But at the same time, it doesn't go far enough into who we are as a human being, because we have to look across the table at all cultures and all places around the world that people lived, and they had to adapt to their place of living, their climate, and within those areas, they were introduced to many things, many bugs, many health disruptors, all types of environmental toxins, different animals, bugs again, insects, and also the weather. And without having a clear understanding of what is in those things that we're consuming, it puts us at a disadvantage to be at the mercy of the results, because ultimately, anytime that we ingest something, expose ourselves to something, you know, it's going to be some type of reaction that happens there. You know, I mean, just as a kid, if you're out making mud pies, you had to mix the water with the dirt, and something happened. So the same thing happens anytime that we introduce things into our system. And I know a lot of people go, oh, well, you know, that's the foods that my ancestors ate. And I was just examining the country in Zimbabwe. I was just noticing how they, you know, the average life expectancy at one point was at 60. Then about 5 or 6 years ago, it dropped down to 43 years old. That was the life expectancy. Now it's climbed up to right around 50. This for men and women. And therefore, you know, we have to look at what are the staple foods there and what people are being consuming and what they're being exposed to. So it's just not enough, especially if we want to make the most out of this process, because the longer we live, the theme goes that the more we learn. So we get more wisdom, more experience the longer we live. But if we don't pay attention, then we can be susceptible to all types of issues, whether they're emotional issues, you know, family issues. All of those things are going to be incorporated in being unaware. And we've seen the tragedy. You know, we always see the tragedy. And what is the underlying cause of that tragedy? And that's what we have to explore this evening.
Hey, I think you did an excellent job of getting us started and summing that up. I definitely appreciate and definitely agree with that. Let me go over here and get the let's go ahead and open it up a little more, and let's put a little more rocket fuel on it today, and let's introduce and bring in and welcome and do a big round of applause for my other guest today, the founder of Symptometry. We call him Uncle N. We call him Grandmaster Nartey. We call him C.J. Nartey. We call him Dr. Nartey, Uncle Nartey. I mean, he has so many hats that he wears. Super scientist Nartey. I want y'all to please put y'all hands together for my friend and yours, the founder of Symptometry, Dr. Maxwell Nartey.
It's awesome, baby!
Good afternoon, Dr. Nartey. Thanks for joining us this evening. How you feeling?
Oh, fine. Good evening to you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Good evening to you, Dr. Abbott, and your distinguished audience. Good evening. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Thank you, Dr. Nartey. I want to tell you that I appreciate you being so courageous this evening, because anytime a person comes out and says the ancient Egyptians almost had it right, you're going to open yourself up to criticism. This culture of people who basically almost disappeared off the face of the earth were one of the most successful cultures and dynastic periods ever to walk the face of the earth. Some of the things and the feats that they accomplished have to this day have never been duplicated. They've been often imitated, but never duplicated at the same scale as they were when the Egyptians or the Kemetic people or the ancient Cushites walked the planet Earth. And some people are saying, Coach, you're making a real bold statement tonight by saying they almost had it right. So I just want to say thank you for being courageous enough to come on the show tonight, because I'm sure I'm gonna ask some questions, and some people may have a different outlook on what they thought was the truth as we move forward. So are you ready for that?
Oh yeah. I'm ready. Yes.
Okay, good. Now, one of the reasons, I just went with the Egyptians is because everybody is always quoting that phrase, know thyself. And so one day it just came to me, it said, know thy cells. And I said, well, don't the cells make up the self? But I think that is a lot of times when people listen to Coach K radio on Tuesdays or they listen to Symptometry radio on Wednesdays, I think that they think that Symptometry is strictly about changing the way we eat, you know, but I look at it as saying it's really based on a core principle of knowing your cells. Would you agree or disagree with that? And could you expand on that for me?
Well, symptometry is not just about changing your diet. Symptometry is about health, and health starts only at one place. It starts at the cellular level. So by going to the cells, you are definitely going to get all the answers. You are going to get all your answers. That is where I get all my answers. I don't get my answers by talking to people. I may get clarification here and there, but when I go to bed or when I'm sitting by a river, by a lake, in a quiet area, I always get the answers. So, who put the answers in there? Who put that knowledge in the cells? When you are talking about self, you are looking at a bigger expanse of cells that formed a body. That is different. Because when you have a number of cells forming a body, then you are going to have what is called personality. And then when you leave this area, this sphere, and you keep digging, and then you realize that personality comes from somewhere. This is where we are connected to DNA. DNA is the longest molecule ever created. DNA has no end. There is only one DNA. That is the DNA of the human race. It started from somewhere and it split into lineage DNA. We have so many lineages, thousands and thousands and thousands of lineages of DNA. You know, you are born into a family in Russia, you have that DNA. You are born into a family in Africa, you have that DNA. You are born into a family in Europe, and so on and so forth. You have a special DNA. But we are all human DNA. There's a difference between human DNA and dog DNA. Difference between dog DNA and cat DNA, and so on and so forth. And DNA and all this is just about personality. Know thyself. It's about personality. You know who you are. I know who I am. That's why I am very, very careful about whatever I do, whatever I eat. I know my vulnerabilities. I know my strengths, and I know my limits. If you don't know who you are, you will not be around for too long. Because you know you are an energy field. And as an energy field, you are an electromagnetic field. What does it mean? As an electromagnetic field, you attract and you repel. What do you attract? You attract insects. You attract predators. You attract opportunists. That is part of who you are. So you have to be alert all the time. You should never let your guard down, wherever you are. mean by know thyself? What are your limits? Okay, if you know that you are not able to do certain things, there is someone somewhere in the world to help you. Because life on this planet is about helping each other. One is taller, the other one is shorter. One is bigger, the other one is smaller. Even a child, the hand of a child, you see how small it is? If something drops in your car between the seats and you cannot get it, go and get a small child with their small hand, their little hands. They will come and then they will just pick it up for you and you say thank you. You're a big man. With your big hands, you cannot get into that hole. You cannot get into that spot. So there is a reason to have a difference in height, difference in size. So you know your limits, you know your limitations, you know your weaknesses. So you must, if it is the statement, know yourself, you have to keep digging and digging and digging and digging. Don't just turn it into a piece of philosophy. It is a piece for reflection. Keep thinking and thinking and thinking. Who are we? Who are we? We are the descendants of those who went before us. What did they leave in their genes? Their diseases. It is our responsibility now, if you want to be healthy, optimally healthy, that is, we have to clean up this DNA. We have to clean up these genes. Know who you are. You have work ahead of you. Life is not a picnic. Know who you are. That is what it means. Then, on the other side, on the other hand, know yourselves. Yourselves do not have a personality. There's a difference between self and self. Self has a personality. Cells do not have a personality. A cell is a piece of machinery that requires supplies. And you have to know what the cells need. And knowing what the cells need means you have to know when to supply their needs, how much they need, and how often they need what they have been looking for. So you have to know yourselves. If you don't know yourselves, you will not be around for too long. If you don't know who you are, you will also not be around for too long. So what brings the two of them together? Self and cells is only one thing. It's called the atom. The atom is the link between self and cells. The atom is packed with forces, including the transformational force that produces DNA. From an atom, we have the cell, we have DNA. This is how we had life. We did not have life, we did not have species at the dawn of creation. When there was void, there were no species. Just void, just gases, just atoms. And the transformational force within the atoms produce DNA. And their DNA has 4 parts. Has the genes, has DNA itself as a transmission unit. Then has the factories called RNAs. And then have the cells, for sex cells, or the features for the sex cells called the chromosomes and the telomeres. All this is one thing called DNA, split into different parts. And they started from the atom.
common link between the cells and self. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Whew.
It's a dream come true. And the hits just keep on coming.
All right. So one thing, well, I want people to, like, I'm not going to wait to the end of the show to open up the line. So if you at any time would like to become a part of the discussion tonight, the phone number is 347-205-9089. 347-205-9089. Please call in, or if you're on the line and you would like to have a question for Dr. Nartey or comment on something he or Dr. Abbott or I said, just press 1 and we'll open up your line and bring you in, all right? Now, Dr. Nartey, this memory, like you said, you said that the self has a personality, but the cells don't have a personality, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
But if you don't treat the cells properly and give them, what they need to produce, like when we align, if we don't align the desires of our mind with the needs of our cells tend to retaliate. That seems like the cell has an ego because it's retaliating, but is it retaliating because of ego, or is it retaliating because it's trying to send you a message?
It is retaliating because it is in charge. It is the cells that brought us here. If we don't do as they please, as they choose, well, the consequence is you are going to have a disease. And if this disease manifests itself at the mental level, you are going to have a personality problem. You are going to have a personality problem. And if you have a personality problem, you are going to lose your job. If you lose your job, there will be no income coming. If there's no income coming, you have problems with relationships, and so on and so forth. So you see, one action that the cells took has caused a ripple effect that will have very devastating consequences upon the whole self, which is the human body. This is why we say, satisfy yourselves first. Satisfy yourselves first. And then every other thing shall fall in place. You don't satisfy your mind. You don't satisfy your palate, your taste buds. Satisfy yourself first. And if you can, by aligning the desires of your mind with the needs of yourselves. Thank you.
Dr. Abbott, do you want to jump in on some of that? He said the cells came here first, and they got us here.
There's definitely for lack of a better word, a pecking order in this paradigm or space that we are in this environment. Because without the cells, I mean, this is the makeup. And when you speak of, we say the ancient Egyptians almost had it right. Yeah, they did some magnificent things. And, we can look back now, and I mean, they did the MRIs on the mummy. And what they found is that many of them had clogged arteries, had heart disease, coronary heart disease. And you would think, just out of just making an assessment of a situation like that they would have been much healthier. But why did they suffer, or die at an early age? Many of them. And you know, from that, but were they consumed? You know, so, you know, there's genius there. And then again, there's another aspect of it where, there was heart disease, a clogged artery. So, and that was consuming things that was not cell-friendly. So again, going back to it, cell health is personal health. And I mean, when you look at the structure of a cell, I mean, there's so many things going on. I mean, for a human being, there's 75 trillion cells. And then there's the genes. And there's 70,000 genes in each cell. So we're talking about numbers that are really beyond our imagination here. But that's what we function on. This is where our abilities and talents come from that vast pool, that vast gene pool.
That's one of the things I meant when I talked about the Egyptians almost had it right. One thing I admire about them is their tenacity. Is that tenacity passed down into symptometry in the way that we attack our problems or go about applying our problem-solving skills? Dr. Nartey, is that something that was passed down throughout the gene as well?
Well, I got it from somewhere because I was not the first person to use DNA on this planet. And I come from a lineage, and that lineage comes from a bigger lineage. So what gives me the fire to keep burning, the energy to keep going, definitely should be coming from somewhere. And since I come from Africa originally, and I have all these people smiling on me or smiling at me and nudging me to keep going and keep going and keep going, where do I get this resilience, this tenacity, this indefatigable nature, untied nature of doing to achieve a goal, where failure is not an option for me. Even if I fail, I have to get up and keep going until I get it right. So that relentless pursuit of perfection is definitely coming from those who invented paper, those who invented hydrology, those who invented geometry, and those who did everything in order to make human civilization rise almost to the sky, to the pyramids. Thank you.
Dr. Nartey, tonight I want to start to give people a basic understanding of the cell and how can this, the cell came first and it's got so much power. Like Dr. Abbott said, there's a pecking order and you have to take care of it first before you take care of your ego and take care of your personality and take care of everything. You have to take care of your cells because your cells will take you out. Can you talk to us about the blueprint of a cell? Because to me, and I want you to tie that in maybe even metaphysically to the megaforce, because to talk about the dynamics of a cell and the brilliance that it has in its design, we have to give consideration to the architect that designed the cell. So I think that, it's an honor to speak upon the cell, but I think all the glory that we're speaking of concerning the cell is also going to reflect back to the architectural work of the cell. So could you describe the makeup of a cell and give it to me. So let's say we have a classroom of 8th graders that are 14 years old, and they want to know, what is a cell and why is it so important and why does everything start there? And then why is it made up of genes? Why can't cells just be the last straw?
Thank you. I always do my best to speak at the 8th grade level. All these courses on genetics and all that, they are good for college students and they're good for professorial lectures. But when I am in front of a general public, I always speak in very simple terms. You have to know that there was a beginning, something bigger, something started somewhere. The cell did not just give themselves existence. No. What gave itself existence is the atom. The atom is the beginning of the beginning. It is a self-created particle. Nobody created it. If you keep finding out, okay, who did this? All right, who did this? Who did this? There will come a point where you reach a dead end. And if you continue, it means you are crazy. You are losing your mind. You have to know where to stop. Where everything started, the source of everything is the atom. What is the atom? It's the smallest particle that can never be destroyed, and it is packed with energy. That energy are forces. The force produce the atom and contain the force again. The atom contains packed the force that created it. This is why, if you want to know who created the world, is the mega force that created the world. Now, up to this point, this is what I would say about the atom, energy, and the forces. Then, how did we have a cell? How did we have a cell? The first cell that was produced was responsible for producing all the other cells. This was the cell of cyanobacterium. Cyanobacterium. That was the very, very first type of life form. It was able to bring together, to fix nitrogen. It was able to fix the carbon cycle. All these cycles. This is a bacterium. This is why I keep saying that stop hating bacteria. The bacterium or the bacteria are not the enemies. God created them too. They have to look for food. And if you give them food, they will infect you. If you don't give them food, they will go somewhere else and look for somebody who is going to give them what they have been looking for. So if they gave us life, if cyanobacteria gave us life, then it has every right to be on everything before we get to that food. They have every right to get into water before we get into the water, before we drink the water. So if we don't do something to clean up this water, to boil this water before we drink it, well, what we are looking for, we are going to get it. After it created itself, after it started producing, started harnessing the forces, the force of combination, the force of division, and so on and so forth. It started producing cells, started producing DNA by combining and pairing amino acids together. And DNA was responsible to make the cell to function. So how can it function? How can it function? So it had to split itself into four. You be the gene. I will be transmitting the blueprint from you. The three of you, ribosomal RNA, messenger RNA, and the other RNA, you will be the factories. You will produce everything that the cell needs. And then when we get a body, all you come together and produce food for everything. Now we will need procreation. All right. You will be the chromosome. You will be the sex cell. Okay. Male, female. You are in charge of reproduction. And you, the telomeres, will say how long the reproduction will continue. Everything was planned. Everything was designed. Who gave DNA this knowledge? Who? Self-made, self-produced. They did not read, DNA did not read a book somewhere. Now, when it came to producing enzymes, we need a little bit of water here, a little bit of oil here, a little bit of biotin here, a little bit of selenium here, a little bit of iron here. Who taught RNA, the factories, how to do all this? Who taught them? No one taught them. Until they produce the bone, they produce the teeth, they produce the flesh, they produce the joints, and so on and so forth. This is what I meant by the cells brought us to this world. They have done everything beyond human imagination to put us together, to make us function, to make us work, to make us have energy. And now, it is your turn. Take care of them. Remove the blockages in them. There will be blood. Sanitize this blood. There will be the red bone marrow. Make sure that the white blood cells are there. The red blood cells are there. The platelets are there. There will be organs. Make sure that the macrophages are there in these organs. What else do you have to do? I bought this car for you. All you have to do is make sure that the tires are well inflated. Wash the car so that whenever I don't like to see I don't want to see a dirty car. Keep washing it. If you want to take it to a car detail shop, take it to a car detail shop. That's all you have to do. If it's running low on gas, put some gas there. Check transmission fluid. Check the oil level from time to time. That's all I'm asking you to do. And I will run it and take you wherever you are going. Whether you are running, you are jumping, you are working at your desk, you are doing A, you are doing B, you are this. I will be responsible for that. You just take care of my cell nourishment. You just take care of the removal of blockages from me. That is a contract. You have not honored, you are not in compliance with the clauses of the contract. That's why you have to be punished. That is the secret contract between the cells and self. If people are not aware of this, that is a secret contract between the two. If you don't honor the terms of your contract, well, you are in breach of your contract. You have to pay for it. Thank you.
Wow, that's cool.
And the hits just keep on coming.
It's
Whew. I think a lot of the things that you explained right now were almost like in legal terms. It seems that the relationship between the human body and what was created following the cells as an extension of the atom seemed to be much like a legality. Like you said, if we honor our part of the contract, then the cells and their dynamic creative mechanisms will honor their part of the contract. Is that like a fair assessment?
Yes, that is exactly what is happening.
And when you say that the cells will take you out, you know, doesn't that seem like, some people may seem like, well, the cells don't really have too much, like if the cells really wanted to live, wouldn't that be self-sabotage if they took the body out, because then they're taking themselves out? Do the cells...
One thing you have to understand is this. The cells want to have a home. But if they cannot count on you to give them a home, why should they waste their time on you? DNA does not want to be homeless, because after death, DNA becomes a virus. Part becomes a virus. Part is a part becomes a virus, and the other part becomes mitochondrial DNA that goes to the lineage. You see, so it is not the intention to become a virus, to be infecting people left and right. That's not the intention. But if they can no longer count on you, then of what use are you? You're useless. I would not like to ride a useless horse. So basically, this is what the understanding is. If you want to make yourself useful, that we teach scientific eating, scientific living. We teach ionization, because we understand the contract between the self and the cells. If others don't understand it, well, they are not yet at that level. We are already there, and we are cruising at that level. That's why we say, eat scientifically, do cell nourishment, and live nutrition. We've passed nutrition now. We are now doing cell nourishment. So we honor our part of the contract. Thank you. Well, Coach, you see that? You know, this is, you're talking contract now, which is definitely a part of this planet's paradigm, part of this arena that we're in. Dr. Nartey, if you would, could you, we hear about, spiritual development, spiritual masters. Could you speak on that in regards to how the atom, how that equates to these atoms and their information? Yeah, you hear when I was studying transcendental meditation in Chicago, you hear about the master, the masters. You ask yourself this question: who are the masters? You go to a Roman Catholic church, and you hear about the angels. You go to a Presbyterian church, you hear about the angels, the archangel, Michael. You know, you go to the Muslim mosque, you read the Quran, or the Quran is read to you, you hear about Jibril, Angel Gabriel, you know, the archangel, things like that. Fine. How did they become angels? How did they become sheriffs? How did they become masters or spiritual masters? These were human beings. These were human beings who walked the face of this planet. And they kept accumulating spiritual points upon spiritual points upon spiritual points by doing good, by helping people in need, unconditionally, without getting anything back or anything in return. And they accumulated so many spiritual points that when they died, some of them were not even buried in marked graves. Most of them were even buried in unmarked graves. All of us have DNA. What does it mean? It means when it is time for the trophoblast, a specialized group of cells, to harness the genes to build a human being, all the past DNAs are coming back together. All the genes are coming back together from the different lineages. They are coming back together to produce a human being. So are we new? No, we are not. We are not at all. That's why we have the diseases of our ancestors and all that. When you have passed the stage of coming back in the flesh and in bones as a human being, you stay where you are and you have your assignment as a speaker in charge of mathematics, in charge of physics. And you see somebody who is interested in physics and has passed all the tests, that teachings available to that person. Obviously, that person becomes talented in physics, in chemistry, in geography, and on and on. That is the work of the masters. People who are no longer coming back as human beings. There's a spiritual connection to the atom. When you mention the forces, what is force? Force is what is intangible. That cannot be seen, but can be felt. So that's the connection. Thank
you. Wow. I want to go take a call real quick. Let me get my thoughts together because I can keep on going because he done went to the angelic realm right now, Dr. Abbott. So let me get my thoughts together on that. While I take a call real quick. The call-in number is 347-205-9089. If you'd like to talk to Dr. Maxwell Nartey or myself or Dr. Charlie Abbott, just press 1. Dial in that number and just press 1. If you're watching us on YouTube, the number is on the bottom of the screen, and you can call in as well and just press 1, raise your hand, and we'll get right to you. First caller is from 713-962. Your microphone is wide open. Can I get your name and where you're calling from, please?
Yes, my name is Josie Chenier, and my husband is here as well, Larry Chenier, and we're from Houston, Texas.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Yeah. Hey.
How are you? Did you have a comment, question, or feedback tonight?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
I said, did you have a comment, question, or feedback for anyone on the panel tonight?
Actually, no, I just got on, so I didn't hear everything, and I'm just listening in. My friend Lisa is the one that referred me to you guys, so my husband and I are very interested in symptometry and learning about it and trying to figure out about our health issues.
Okay. Well, thank you thank you so much for calling in. This is a dynamic show for you. For this to be is this your first show you're tuning into?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, if you're just coming on, I would suggest that you, after the show, go back onto the computer and listen in from the beginning. And you can go to CoachKRadio.com, CoachKRadio.com, and then you'll be able to listen to it all the way from the beginning. All right?
Great. Will do. Thank you so much.
All right. But don't hang up because we're not done yet.
Okay. We won't.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for joining us. I just love it when the word of mouth starts to get around and people start coming in, even on a subject that I had, basically designed for myself. And most of these shows, as you know, Dr. Nartey and Dr. Abbott, these are questions that I may have throughout the day or have had with someone in my daily conversation, talking about the cells and I have and I say, well, what is an excellent way, or what is the best way for me to break it down from high level to eye level for people who are, they're saying knowledge of self, but they don't know anything about their cells. They don't know anything about, what is the root of the self. So that's why I'm just really enthusiastic about the show tonight and the information that we're covering for our listeners. I guess I should give all of them a round of applause because we have a lot of people on the line tonight. So I really thank you, callers from the 813-484-570, some 336s, 770-843-224s, 708s, 843-609s, 951s, 419s. It's just a lot of people on the line tonight, and I really appreciate all of you for tuning in. If any of you would like to have something or a comment and you'd like to contribute or have a question for Dr. Nartey, please just dial the number 1. Just press the number 1 on your phone and we'll bring you in. But we're going to continue on with the discussion as well. Also, I want to ask and remind each of you to please bookmark in your internet browser, Symptometry.com, Symptometry, Symptometry.com. For those of you who have been listening in, you know where the site is at. For those, this may be your first or second time listening. Symptometry is the best healthcare you've never heard of, where the science is curing, not just healing or symptom relocation, but it's all about how we actually offer solutions to cure a disease so where it doesn't come back. All right. Okay. Where was I? Dr. Abbott, he went over into let's talk about spiritual points. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Abbott.
I said we went into the spiritual realm, the forces of the angels, and so much of this really just comes to mind how we have to how it's brought together and tied together, because even when you have the atom and then you have Adam, right, which is the first made being out of dust, right? So this is now a configuration of jingling atoms, as Dr. Nartey mentioned earlier, how, the world consisted of gases. But as the atoms slowed down and became more and more compressed, this is when things start to manifest in a physical manner. And if you look at the cosmology chart, I know of the Asian medicine, the I Ching, and so on and so forth, you see the void, and then comes in, which was absolute force, and then it comes into the opposite forces of the yin and yang, and then this is where the rest of the other elements, 5 elements, come into play. And to have the scientific explanation of these phenomena just, to me, brings the story into focus, and it takes so much of the spook and the mystery out of it.
And that also, when he went back to the atom, he also went back to the ancient Egyptians had a god called Atum. And had a entire division of their knowledge based around Atum. And now for us to have a continuation of the science, because as Dr. Nartey, you have said that symptometry is not complete, just as the Egyptian or the Kemetic sciences were incomplete. Symptometry is forever growing. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct, because everything has been fragmented. Everything has been fragmented, and it's now symptometry that is putting all the pieces together so that it makes sense. And we are not faulting all these scientists, all these Egyptians, all these learned people, wise men, wise women who played their role. They all had to do what they had to do in order for symptometry to come and weave the pieces together. So we keep our hearts to them. They've done an excellent job, and it is now we who are stepping up to the plate to complete what they left uncompleted.
Can you please relate? I still want to stay on the cells so much, like tonight, the importance of what was one of the things that the Egyptians missed in cell nourishment, Dr. Abbott, or Dr. Nartey. What was one of the things that the Egyptians missed when it came to relating to the cells or studying the cells?
I would not like to say they missed it, because one thing you have to understand is knowledge comes in waves and it comes in drops. Knowledge is not given at once. It comes in tiny, tiny, tiny bits and pieces according to the person's level of consciousness. Knowledge will never be given to you if it is too heavy for you to carry. Knowledge will never be given to you if people will not understand it. Everything comes at the right time. During the Egyptian time, what they felt was necessary was, don't forget that they were doing mummification. They were mummifying the dead. They used solutions. They found all kinds of things to mummify the dead properly and preserve the dead. Then, after so many years, there came someone who had a brilliant idea. What did the Pharaoh die from? What was he suffering? He was suffering from stomach pain. He used to complain about this side, he used to complain about that side. Okay. Now that he's dead, let's cut him open. Let's open his abdominal cavity and see what is in there. Then they found something. This was how they started anatomy. They started studying the internal organs, their location. This was how the ancient Egyptians laid the foundation for what is called anatomy. And then later on there was physiology. Claudius Galen, the Greek who went to Alexandria in ancient Egypt to study the science
5 Roman emperors. He became the first world surgeon. Where did he learn this from? He learned this from ancient Egypt, specifically in Alexandria. So they did not miss anything. We had cell biologists who came in 2,000 years later. They studied the cells. Then we had geneticists who came in a few decades later. They studied genetics as it applies to heredity. Fine. People, they did their best and they received all the accolades at the time. We are now in the year 2015. Now, I started this in 1992. From 1992 up to 2015, I had plenty of time to put the work of all these illustrious children of this planet together to form a rock-solid therapeutic science or symptometry. So the Egyptians did not miss anything. If anything at all, they left the work for someone else to complete. And that is what I have done. Thank you.
Wow. Woo, 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 woo. Yes, yes.
It's awesome, baby.
Well, Dr. Abbott, he said they didn't leave off anything. Just left it for someone else to complete. They left many breadcrumbs and many accomplishments, or as we may even say, rungs on the ladder, for us to continue to climb up to what the current state that we are in right now. Because I do feel that all of our predecessors who came before us knew that if we were not going to be immortal, then there would have to be enough scientific research left behind for the next scientists. Is that correct, Dr. Nartey?
That is correct, 100%. Yes.
So when a person is studying their self and they realize that it's time to start studying their cells, and they also realize the definition of health, that health is the reward that the totality of our cells bestows on a person. That means that the cells hold the reward, and they're not going to release the reward until their needs are met. Your average human being who wants to receive rewards in this world, whether they be financial, whether they be spiritual, whether they be emotional, they're going to have to comply with the needs of the cells. Can you tell me what is the top 3 things that our cells in 2015, what do we need right now? Because it seems like the entire planet is under assault by so many different diseases, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, infidelity, anger, anxiety and depression. What, through your research, I don't want to know your opinion, I want to know right now, what are 3 things that the cells are screaming for right now from humankind?
Oh, that's very, very easy. Our cells are very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable, because as I said earlier, nobody taught them how to make enzymes, nobody taught them how to make hormones. They are only looking for 3 things in humans. 1, we must have vision. We must have vision. you have to produce? What do you have to produce in order to have good vision? You cannot have vision if you are not hopeful. You cannot have vision if you are depressed. You have vision, you have a lot of serotonin. You know how to produce serotonin. You know how to produce acetylcholine. These are the two neurotransmitters that are needed in order to keep going. Look at these people who have chronic diseases, people who have lost hope, people who think there's nothing else can be done. When you measure the level of serotonin and acetylcholine, it's almost negligible, zero, nothing, empty. Our cells don't like it. They want to be vibrant and they want to keep going. So you must have vision. This is where I'm going. This is how I intend to get there. Why is it that when people retire, their body starts falling apart? Because they have no vision. The cells want somewhere to go every morning. And then you get up in the morning, then around 9 o'clock you start going to watch TV. Oh, I'm retired. You are retired. You don't retire. You change your routine. But you don't retire. Instead of working 5 days a week, you work 4 days a week. You work 3 days a week. When you are 130 years old, you work 1 day a week. Then half a day a week. You must have somewhere to keep going. You have to go somewhere. Vision. The second thing is tenacity. You have to be tough-minded. Don't accept failure. Use failure as an opportunity to excel. Our cells don't like it at all. Unfortunately, do people understand themselves? No, they don't. They are going to work, they fill the tank, and they drive, and that's it. They are coming back home, they are tired, they could go and wash up, to watch TV, have supper or dinner ready. Okay, all right, go to bed. Next time, same routine. What is the tenacity? What is the tenacity? You have no vision, there is no tenacity. And the last one is forgiveness. The third one is forgiveness. Are you a forgiving person? All right? If you are a forgiving person, you have to pass the forgiving test. All right? Yourself will place you in a position, in a situation where, all right, let's say Christmas is coming, and you are 2 weeks away from Christmas, and somebody went and told you seek out with the intention of coming back quickly. And you told one of your best friends that is what you intend to do. Okay. Then he tells you, okay, go. No problem, go. Have you back. And after you left, you tell the supervisor that you left your job. Come back. You're fired. 2 weeks to Christmas. And then later on you get to know that it is your best friend on the job, at work, who did this to you. All right. What a terrible Christmas that will be when the children are waiting for their presents. Now here's my question. 2 years later, person you love, you forgive a person who humiliated you, who made you lose your job, and so on and so forth. That's forgiveness. It is tough. Pastors, bishops, the Pope, they preach about forgiveness all the time. But do people really forgive? Do people really forgive? But you go to church and sit on the front pew and you sing the loudest. After church, you still bear somebody a grudge. Ourselves don't like that. So if we are totally useless to ourselves, the disease will be incurable until you die. Learn to forgive. Learn to forgive. You don't forgive only your boyfriend or your wife or this or that. No. You have to pass the test for forgiveness. You have to pass the test for patience. And there are so many tests to pass. Earlier I was talking about the atoms who are no longer coming back in bone and in flesh. They are where they are in the spirit world, with the forces. They pass all their tests. They pass all their tests. Now it is our turn. Thank you.
Dr. Nartey, the question I'm hearing, just, the layman is saying, hey, why should I forgive somebody? How is forgiveness going to help my cells? My cells need to get over that. This person made me miss my Christmas. This person got me fired. Like, where is the advantage? Like, it doesn't sound like you're talking science. Like, you trying to tell me that my cells can be affected by me holding grudges, and that my cells can be affected by forgiving somebody? This person really hurt me or hurt my feelings or did something that I call really dirty to me. They broke into my house and they stole my computer and they took my camera and they stole cash from me. And you saying that, what's that got to do with my health? This person is a bad person. And you're telling me that if I forgive them, my cells will reap a benefit, and that will in turn help me become healthier and get the things that I want? You're going to have to go a little further into that.
All right. Okay, thank you. This is what you have to understand. Before our cells divide, there must be a force. There must be calcium, there must be folic acid, and there must be a force to make them to turn and split and divide so that the DNA, the chromosomes and everything are divided equally. This force is called the impulse. It must be positive. It should never be negative. It must be positive. If you make yourself to use negativity, they will not divide. This is what causes atrophy, lack of cell division, lack of cell growth, lack of tissue growth. It's called atrophy in science. A-T-R-O-P-H-Y, atrophy. Eventually, because you are angry and you are radiating nothing but negativity, you are filling your body with negative impulses. This is how you will be shutting down the electrical system in your body. The human body is nothing but electricity. The nerves transmit electricity. And by you shutting down the foundation of the human body, which is electricity, you are not going anywhere. You will be a loser. You lost your job, and now you are going to lose your health. This makes you a double loser. good to be angry. Learn to forgive. It's very painful. Somebody came and stole your computer, your software, your hard drive, everything stolen. Clean up your house. So here is my question. In making you angry, bring back your computer. Will making you angry, bring back your software. Why don't you use this opportunity? Why don't you turn this opportunity to your advantage? All right, you know what? My computer was stolen. All right. I think, let me see, when was the last time, when did I buy this computer? Oh, I bought this computer in 1983. Or I bought this computer in 2001 or in 2002. Oh, you know what? This computer is old. Let me go and get a new computer. The computer you are going to get is more sophisticated than the computer you lost. The software you are going to get are better, more advanced than the software that was in the computer you lost. And thirdly, because your first computer was stolen, that person taught you how to live on this planet. Never to let your guard down. Never to trust anybody. What did that person teach you? He taught you how to live on this planet and to remain alert. Instead of you being angry, how were you? I would thank him for teaching me awareness, alertness, and how to live on this planet better so that this should never happen to me again. What about if this happened to me at the airport? What about if it happened to me in a hotel somewhere? What about if I will never assume that where I am is safe anymore? Sit down and thank the person who stole your computer for teaching you a new lesson. You are now turning to page 2 and chapter 2. You started a new lease on life. Thank you.
Ooh, my. Hold on.
And the hits just keep on coming.
That's a heavy prescription right there he just laid down, Dr. Abbott. You know?
And, you know, Coach, it brings into fruition and brings to the forefront one of the reasons why it is important to eat scientifically, because our cells need calcium to divide. Now, when symptometry, when we tell people, don't drink lemonade, don't, stay away from citric acid and, consuming, oranges and lemons and grapefruits and these things like that, they will stop the cells from dividing, which in turn will put a person in a more negative state than they would be in if they abstained from it. So this is, it's like playing all the levels all at once. It's like, a continuous infinity loop where, we're coming back into the physical, going to the spiritual, and so on and so forth, to the mental and so on, because, these cells, they have different shapes. We think about cells, and you may just think about a red blood cell and see a circular cell, but all of these cells are not, circular. They have all different types of shapes. Nerve cells are shaped different, and muscle cells, all of them have their own unique shape and size. And, this is information that is, that's tying all this, the things that we need to be brought together. And I mean, I'm thankful for the technology that's available now, because, many of the ancient masters that, the LaoZus and many of the ancient Egyptians walked the planet, we didn't have this form. There was this form of communication that was available. So now everything is at our fingertips to be able to access information, be able to go back and listen to this podcast, to get this information. And I just really want people to know that there's people that they know, and they themselves are listening, to get involved with symptometry so that we can, move right on this train together. Because I know everyone has their different thoughts and ideas, but as far as the realm of doing it through the health field, through activating and keeping ourselves healthy and well and bringing about consciousness, because even if a person is on a path, if they are not feeling well, then it will take much longer than if they are. I mean, I don't know how many times I have, spoken to people, counseled people who either didn't feel well or were emotionally imbalanced or mentally have gone through mental issues. If they had the knowledge and the understanding around how to and what to consume, the things to consume that would not be considered a health disruptor, because as you see, a health disruptor is not just something physical, but it can also be something emotional. And and we've talked about this before, but that's how the forces come together. And in symptometry, we're bringing together the entire package in that regard.
Well, I want to, we got a caller on the line. Caller from the 727-458. Your microphone is wide open. Can I get your name and where you're calling from, please?
Hi, yes, my name is Cece and I'm calling from Tampa.
Hi, CC from Tampa. How you doing tonight? Thanks for calling in.
You're welcome. I'm doing good. I had a question, and I guess it's really a loaded question because I dropped off the call a couple of times, and because my phone shut off, and then I tried to pull it up on the computer, and so I lost. So I may have missed some of the information. So if you said it, I apologize. But what I wanted to know was the part of forgiveness, like you talked about division and forgiveness and stuff like that. So if I forgive a person, or if I'm taking a product, or I'm doing a cleansing, or I'm eating better, or whatever it is, but I'm still holding on to a broken relationship, for example, with a parent or a grandparent. Even though I'm eating better or healthier, I'm not helping myself. It doesn't benefit my body.
No. I will tell you in a second.
Okay.
I have treated and cured countless cases of fibroids in women. Countless. I just received 2 cases today. And all the women whom I've treated for fibroids, and they went back to the gynecologist, they used the sonogram, and they see that the fibroids are shrinking, and they are shrinking, and they are shrinking. I am tough on these women. I am tough on them, and they themselves, they will tell you that I am no nonsense when it comes to telling them what they should do. When they come to the fibroids, right away I tell them that you internalize your feelings too much.
Oh, wow.
And it is not good. And now you are paying the price. Then they are shocked. All of them. They are shocked. How did you know that? I've not even opened my mouth. I said, but you are fibroid. Only a woman who internalizes things, only a woman who is a people pleaser, is offended, but we say, all right, it's okay. I don't want to burn my bridges. I don't know tomorrow. These are the people who are suffering in silence. There are women who have been battered, humiliated, raped, and all that. And they are quiet. They smile. And they don't say anything. It's all right. Maybe it was my fault. And then the fibroid just keep growing and growing and growing and growing. Then they wonder, what is the connection between my negative emotion? I am eating right. I'm eating scientifically. I'm eating the healthy. And yet my fibroid is growing. Don't you know that we are an energy field? And energy is abstract. You don't see it. Electricity is abstract. You don't see it. And the cells divide with what? They divide with impulse. If you have positive emotions, if you are the kind of person who doesn't care, who forgives, who is indifferent to people's abuses, who is indifferent to this, and then, okay, you were raped, you were traumatized, you say, it's all right. What is coming your way is bigger than what you did to me. What is coming your way is bigger, 10 times bigger than what you did to me. You will see how your fibers will start shrinking. When I give you the particulars for fibroids, you will see that how the fibroids used to fill your abdomen will start reducing in size. Now we have different kinds of fibroids. If your fibroids encase a lot of blood and is decompressing, you are going to bleed heavy and heavy and heavy. It is not heavy bleeding, it is a fibroid that is decompressing. It is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Just because you change your attitude, you have a better understanding of forgiveness now. That is why I don't cut anyone a slack. No. You have to do what is in the best interest of yourself. You can eat all you want. But if the positive vibrations in you do not match what you are eating, you are not going to get results. Then what about your mood? You just be faking a smile, when deep down inside you, you are not a happy person. Who are you deceiving? Who are you deceiving? You are deceiving no one. You are deceiving your own self. So be a true woman. You are happy inside just like outside. Outside just like inside. And you see the result. And when you start your treatment, you will be among the people who will recover very fast. Thank you.
CC, what do you got to say about that?
I call dropped again.
CC.
No, I'm sorry. I'm speechless. No, I'm sorry. I didn't see the angle you were coming from, so I'm just trying to catch myself because that was heavy. So it's not enough to go to church. It's not enough to pray. It's not enough to say I forgive. I really have to really say it and do it and go through with all of that. It's because it's just not enough to even go to church and say, Father, I forgive whoever or whomever.
No, you know what? I will not say don't go to church. The pastor depends on your contribution. The pastor depends on you filling the pews. The pastor please. The pastor also gets some motivation by seeing you in church. So you are nurturing the pastor is also nurturing you. So don't say you are not going to church.
No, I'm saying so is it not enough? So I'm saying it's
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, no. It's not enough. No, that's true. It's not enough to eat. It's not enough to do, because know yourself. I don't know whether you were here when you first started. Know yourself. Who are you? We are an energy field. That's what we are. We are an energy field. So you have to take care of. The human body has two sides. The human body has the side that you see and the side that you don't see. And the side that you don't see is the energy field. The energy field is as important as the physical field. So don't underestimate the energy field at all. If you want to do very well on this planet, learn how to work on the abstract side also. Forgiveness, mood, better mood, positivism, and then you change your personal philosophy of life. Always turn something negative into something positive. You lost your bag. Oh my God, what was in it? You know what? When was the last time I bought it? It's all right. Let it go. It's okay. If the person brings it back to me, fine. If he doesn't, fine. Life goes on. I'll get another bag. You see, this is the kind of positive attitude that you need, and to give you a greater vision. Ourselves need vision all the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
CC, is this something? What's your feedback now on this prescription that has been written to you? Because you got more than just popping a pill. You got a little extra, I think. What is your feedback on a scale of? I'm sorry.
My question that was presented there, and this is just an indication of how many other people that maybe need to hear that explanation, at this time.
I had the mic on mute. I was talking. I'm gonna fix that right now.
And just in the coming at the end of the winter season, so give people something to look forward to as the summer. As the spring starts to approach new beginnings.
CC, I'd like to ask you. You just got a prescription that was more than take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning. How doable is that to you on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being I can't do it, and 10 being it's very doable. It's something that I can implement immediately.
10, definitely, because after you've tried different things, sometimes you just realize you have to give in and try something new. So for me, I'm willing to try it all, since I've tried all the other stuff, and so it's a 10 for me. Okay,
and how important do you think the words that you just heard, how often do you hear that? When was the last time you had a doctor tell you to shrink fibroids, you had to start realizing that you had an energetic body that you couldn't see with the naked eye?
I've never heard it said like that. I've heard people say similar things, but not quite the way you put it. He kind of just bring it to life and break it down in such a way that, wow, it just, you could see it, and it just makes sense, because then it made me start thinking about a lot of people that I know that have fibroids, and I'm thinking about how they act, how they respond to stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, wow, it does have a relationship based on how he just described it. So it's kind of different, but it just made sense, so.
And, another key ingredient in that is that we also have to keep in mind the foods that a person needs to stay away from in conjunction with that. Because, again, this is why that formula for health is so important. As, there are people who prescribe to, strictly emotional. or some just say diet, but even in diet, we know that diet isn't necessarily scientific. You know, I hear people say, oh, eat whole foods, you know, eat whole foods, that is the best, but, you know, that's not scientific at all. And many of those whole foods contain tumorigins, which cause tumors to grow. So that is the reason why Symptometry's description of scientific eating offers a clear and concise way of addressing.
Okay. Can I ask one more question? Since he's talking about like symptoms and stuff like that, and I've never heard of this kind of stuff before, like the symptometry stuff.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Like I noticed, like for the past couple of days, on one of my left breast, no, my right breast, I noticed like when I move or just do any little movement, dance or whatever, shake, whatever, just whatever, I noticed that it's really sensitive. So does that mean it's something that I'm doing or I haven't done or somebody I need to release or is it just a random symptom?
Well, no. First of all, you have to know that there's nothing like a random symptom there. Every symptom is a signal. It's your cell that can tell you that focus on this part of your body, and there is something that is going wrong here. You have eaten too much potassium, and now too much potassium have jammed the tissue in this part of your breast. So if it's very sensitive, is it the whole breast? Sometimes it's the nipple that is sore. Sometimes it's part of the breast itself that is sore. Sometimes I see part of the breast is bruised. If part of the breast is bruised, then you ask yourself, did you eat too much broccoli? Did you eat too many eggs? Do you eat eggs and all that? You know, there are certain foods that make potassium to accumulate unnecessarily and then form a knot, or they make it difficult for the tissue in that area to divide properly. So there are certain foods in this situation. I will tell you that foods are involved. So I am not you have not called for consultation. So I cannot ask you what kind of food did you have for breakfast, what kind of foods have you been eating for the past 2 days. There is always a connection. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Well, how can I reach you then for a consultation?
708 691 4977.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. You can contact me, or you can contact Dr. Abbott, or you can contact Dr. Wanek. You know, so Dr. Abbott's telephone number is what? 336-456-9183. Can you confirm that, please? Yes, that's correct. Yes, sir.
Can you repeat it, please? 326
456-9183.
456-9183. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, CC, for calling in, and I want to applaud you for coming in tonight, you know, being courageous and upfront with your questions and expanding your own understanding.
This is a dream come true. And the hits just keep on coming.
How did you hear about the show? How did you hear about the show tonight?
Believe it or not, I just found out about it probably about an hour ago. Somebody texted me, and I was like, they're talking with them. And then when I heard your voice, I said, well, in my mind, I'm thinking, wait, that sound like the guy that somebody sent me a link to on YouTube the other day. And I realized that it is you. You know, so I'm very new to this. I saw one video on you, and then someone just gave me the number and told me to call in and listen. And so that was it. My first time on this show. Wow, that's cool.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, CC. We are on every other Tuesday night, every second and fourth Tuesday at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, and if you'd like to catch any of the archive shows, please go to symptometrybooks.com. Symptometrybooks.com, And if you're a newbie, I always suggest that you listen to show number 1 and show number 2. Just to get the ball, like, what is symptometry, why you've never heard of it. And then so many women called in on that first show that the next show was called Ladies Night. And then it was just, the whole roof was blown off from there. And we have probably done more than 100 shows since that first show, covering about every topic and every disease or every symptom that anyone could think of. So you'll be able to scroll through that page. You'll be able to see some of the books that Dr. Nartey has, as well as some snippets of who he is from some of the shows. But please start with those first 2 shows and pull out your incense and a big glass of water and your notebook and take it from there.
All right, I will. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you very much for calling in. Thank you.
God bless.
God bless. All right. We covered archangels and we covered going up into the church today. That's right. We didn't say stop going to church. We just say you got to do some more. You got to do some more and change your attitude to change that energetic vibration that is really controlling everything, because it's more of what you can't see that's controlling what you can see than what you can see controlling what you can see. I hope I didn't lose anybody right there, but what you can't see is way more powerful than what you can see with the naked eyes. And the eyes have to be trained. The senses have to be trained. And that's one of the reasons why we're having this show, so you can get down to the knowledge of yourselves. That way you can really get into knowledge of yourself, know what the connection is, and then move forward from there. And I'm trying to let Dr. Nartey go tonight, Dr. Nartey, but it's always at the very end somebody raises their hand. I have one more caller in the queue. Caller from the 609. Caller from the 609-412. Your mic is wide open. Can I get your name and where you're calling from, please?
Oh, it is me, Coach Khayr. I haven't heard your voice in I don't know how long. This is Lisa Scott.
How you doing, Lisa Scott?
Hi, Dr. Nartey. Oh, man. You know I had to call in. You know I had to call in. I just needed to make a comment because I've been listening to the show now. I wasn't on the line when you guys first started. But when you got to the point, Dr. Nartey, about talking about cell division and the simplistic way in which you explain 90 cell division and the force and the impulse that must be positive as opposed to negative, and how the cell divides when it has that positive force and impulse versus negative. I decided real quick to explain that to my 12-year-old son in the same way that you explained it. And I just wanted to call in.
And how did you receive it?
This is what I want to say. The smile that came over my son's face.
Beautiful.
With understanding it with that level of simplicity, it's all he seemed to need to hear. It was like I could tell that information went inside of him and he received it, and the smile that came over my son's face, I could feel it, coming from him, as well as his body language, his reaction. And he'd be the biggest kiss and say, "Good night, Mom, I'm going to bed." Like, I could tell he's going to go and contemplate. Well, not even have to contemplate what you said, because it was so simple and so easy to understand. So I had to just call in and express my gratitude for how simple you explained that, so I could explain it to my son, and now he went to bed with a big old smile.
Oh, that is great. That is great. You see, we at the American School of Symptometry, we bring big, hardcore science to very simple English so that people should understand. Children should understand. We don't need big English. All that, that is too professorial. That's why they write books and then only 10 people buy their books. You know, and we want people who need this kind of knowledge to be accessible to them, so that they should have this knowledge. And look at you. You explained this, and I did not use genetics. I did not use these bombastic terms. I did not use them. And I just broke them down, and you used the same term to explain to a 12-year-old, and your son was able to understand it. Well, it shows that we are matching together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay! Thank you, Lisa, for calling in.
Thank you.
It's awesome, baby.
All righty, all righty, all righty. Tonight we have had a ball. We had some great callers call in. Thank you for the basics tonight, Dr. Nartey. I think me and my boss over at Symptometry headquarters are very happy with how the call ended tonight with, like, that's how we get paid. To me, that's how we get paid around here. There's a 12-year-old somewhere in America that understands what we're talking about. You see what I'm saying? You know I love the children more than I love the adults. Now, I let you and Dr. Abbott work with the adults. I work with the children. So we had a parent on here who could relay the information to an adult, and he smiled and said, I'm gonna go ahead and go on to bed. I'm gonna take this on with me over to the subconscious realm and digest it, and had a big smile on his face. So if anybody wants to know what Coach K Radio is about, or the root of symptometry, because the root cause, I know Dr. Nartey, I know he's in it for the children. I know he loves the adults too, but he loves some babies, and he wants to see the next generation of symptometrists come in and say, let me study. Is that something that you dream about, Dr. Nartey?
Oh yes, yes. You know, this is why I make the teachings of symptometry accessible to everyone. Look at the prints of the textbooks. Look at the prints in the books. You know, they are big. You know, it was difficult for me to find even a publisher to accept this kind of contract. But finally, I found one in the United States. That's why the prints are big. The English is very, very simple, and then the paragraphs are very short, so that if an 8th grade student would like to read some of these books, the knowledge will be accessible to them. Senior citizens, you know, who get tired easily after reading, they take these books and they love it and they continue to read. So my vision is to have children enjoy symptometry, enjoy the teachings of symptometry because of their simplicity. Thank you.
Well, that right there is.
This is a dream come true.
That's my dream come true right there. Dr. Abbott, how'd you enjoy the show tonight? Or class, or the lesson, or the lecture, or the workshop?
Hey man, I'm strapped in, and I'm on the spaceship, man. So we out there, weaving between atoms and all of that, and just picking up on information, just bouncing off. So I mean, I'm always glad to be here, Coach, to just be a part of this program and really just get the feedback from everyone that's out there listening, and really, really grateful for this platform. So thank you for having me once again, and look forward to in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. Can you please give out your contact information and give out the website for the American School of Symptometry, please? So for all of those interested in entering on the path of symptometry, and give them a quick breakdown of what you offer with the 6-month course, or maybe a couple scholarships, and what type of programs are over at the American School of Symptometry.
Well, right now we've started our new sessions, our recent sessions in the latter part of January. We have the 6-month program. We're going into the 4th class in a couple weeks. Well, actually, 4th class. and so we also have the bachelor's science program in symptometry that we're offering as well. So we're looking to, we're accepting people who want to know more about root cause therapeutics and therapeutic science so that they can be advocates, ambassadors for the world, the world of health, of healthy living, scientific living and eating, so that they can guide more and more of humanity on that path and just make things in their lives, their friends' lives, and people who seek their help lives. And all they have to do is go to the website. That's the American School of Symptometry.org. American School of Symptometry.org. Or again, they can reach me at 708-620-4362 for any information. And I can also be reached for consultations at 336-456-9183. And we're growing our school. We have our students who are learning a lot. And if you think some of the things that they've heard tonight was impressive, just talk to some of our 6-month students, and they will express how they feel about the program, the ones that have completed it and those that are currently attending the 6-month session at this time. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I definitely appreciate it. That's the American School of Symptometry.org. Get over there and check it out ASAP. I want to thank Dr. Nartey for coming on tonight, Dr. Abbott, all of my esteemed guests, because without you all, we wouldn't be here. The demand that you all have consistently when you say, hey, give us another show. We're coming back, and to stay and listen to the entire call all night until we finish is just something that just does my heart like bananas. I just love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. As I always keep saying,
this is a dream come true.
and I'm going to do my best to.
And the hits just keep on coming.
Each and every week. Dr. Nartey, you did a magnificent job. This is definitely one for the books. I got to go back and listen to this one ASAP. And while I'm out here in the streets, anytime I'm away from home and I can't cook my own meals, I call that in the streets. So while I'm out here in Los Angeles, I've been gone for a little while from Atlanta, and I have to make sure that I get back on the stove and make sure I nourish myself and take care of myself. So all of you traveling out here, you traveling symptometry advocates, do your best when you visit your family. Ask them, can you cook? Try to get somewhere where you can put your hands in the refrigerator and on the stove and make something happen, okay? And, don't just get loosey-goosey out there because you're away from home and you want to start dropping off. That's my words of wisdom. That's Coach got caught slipping himself last week in Las Vegas and had some errors, but I don't even want to get into that. But I knew, though, how my cells reacted, Dr. Nartey and Dr. Abbott. My cells reacted within 12 hours to let me know that I had made an error. And they reminded me, and I want to let people know this is the first time I'm giving Dr. Abbott that feedback, because at that time I was without my A116D, and I went to the ginger therapeutic tonic. The ginger therapeutic tonic. Listen, everybody, if you don't have that formula, you need to contact the American School of Symptometry, or you need to go over to CoachKhayr.com and just click on leave a note for Coach, and I will shoot the formula and the recipe over to you. Or you can go over to Symptometry Books and order the Symptometry Symptometry.com and order the Symptometry cookbook, because I really feel that that formula really brought me back and was pulling me out, and it let my cells know that I respected them. And they they let me out of the dark closet, Dr. Nartey. They were trying to put me in a dark closet, Dr. Nartey.
Okay. All right.
All right. So I thank each and every one of you for tuning in to Zoom In. I'll see y'all again in 2 weeks. Everybody be cool. Please visit symptometrybooks.com, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.
Okay, peace.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning in to Zoom In with Coach K. What's that? Put my finger on it. Know thyself. Know thyself. Start over here. Know thyself. Know thyself. That's what you got to do. Change the way you do things. Change the way you look at things. All right? There's an energy field out here that can get right at you. So be careful. All right? Talk to you soon. This is Coach in the building. Celebration, baby. See y'all soon. Peace.